Hey, welcome everyone. I'm Mark. I'm Neil. How you both doing? So I got the cat in my room. He's been meowing at me, so he's had something to eat, some treats, and he's going to be trying to get back out of the room now. No doubt he's going to meow at me for that. Aaron, if I've got that right. Well, I hope everyone's week's been alright window cleaning. To be honest, I can't really remember what the hell's happened this week. I think I've only had a 3-day week. Just let me check in with Squeegee, I suppose, see what I'm doing. I'll look on my phone for that. Or was that last week I lost 2 days? I can't remember. I'm sure I didn't work this Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, that's right. I didn't work last Monday. Didn't work Tuesday. Can't even remember why the reasons why. It was the week before. That was Monday. Yeah, I think it was me back Monday, and I think Tuesday because we had some high winds. I'm pretty sure that's how it was, and then worked. And then I had got a day on Friday, so we moved the window cleaning across a day. We didn't have that many gutter jobs really, so we kind of backfilled it with some window cleans that I'll be doing on Monday to make Monday easy, because it's a local day for me. It's in my village, and there's loads of work on there, so we tried to squeeze some of them to make it up. All right, Paul, how are you, mate? So yeah, that's basically how it went. We did a first clean that took quite a long time, longer than what we was expecting. But then the actual gutter jobs and fascia soffits and gutters, them cleans went really well, so we kind of clawed a bit back on the day. But I had a couple of window cleans we added on, I ran out of time on. But next week we've got some days where it's quieter than normal, because basically about every 3 months I think is a full rota of my window cleaning rounds, because I've got not a lot, but there's a couple of 12 weekers. There seems to be a bit of a pattern, so we can catch up on the work I'm behind on. That didn't get done this week. I can catch up next week anyway, so that shouldn't be a problem. And then I've had a few problems with me karcher. I've been trying to pressure wash stuff in me garden, that sort of thing. Lots of things, as they normally do, going against you, and you ain't got enough time to address them or fix them. So I didn't get to wash me van at home, but I have washed it today. Neil's just saying, yeah, terrible weather on Wednesday and Friday. I managed to work Wednesday, Thursday and Friday where we are. We had thunderstorms, Saturday I think it was. Yeah, it was only yesterday. But I had a lot of things going wrong yesterday. Been buying some more kit, which is what I thought I'd talk about this live, because Matt from Your Cleaner Windows, Matt, he did a video. I saw the micro brush, so I've brought one of them. And I used it on Friday, and I've used it today as well. Hi Marcus, you alright mate? And I'm pretty impressed with it, so I thought I'd talk about that for a bit on the live today, and then obviously just do the normal ask any questions, and let's talk anything to do with window cleaning, running the business, Gucci bits of kit, that kind of stuff. It's yeah, just what I thought I'd do. So I'm just going to have a drink of water. I can tell the cat, he's locked in the room. He's not happy, but he's quiet. He's not meowing like mad. We're currently, according to me stream information, we've got 6 people online viewing right now. Hi Mills, window cleaning, you alright mate? So we'll just see if more people come in. Does anyone on here? I've seen Mills cleaning, Ched, Paul, I've seen you in Smelts. Cat's meowing now, I don't know if you can hear him. Lives on a Monday. I've been watching them for quite a while. I don't get to watch all of them sometimes because they go on for like a few hours, and with like family life and that. But I try and follow along. Try and learn some stuff for pressure washing, because I've got some different things and ideas whirling around my head at the moment. Thinking, what direction do I go? Tommy, you can squeeze through that gap. Oh, the cat. I don't move because it's a bit tight in here. But yeah, so I just hope the rest of the month is going to go well. It's not been a completely blinder of a start. Last month I had a decent amount of money's worth work to get in. That's what I said to my wife, and we lost 4 days. But it's amazing when you think like the first 3 weeks are probably enough money coming in to break even. The 4th week is just pure profit. So if you lose a day or two, it's quite a lot of the hit, isn't it? It's coming out of you pure profit. But the good thing, since I put my prices up, is when I've had to spend money on all these things that have been going wrong, I've managed to pay for them and order them, as opposed to put them on the credit card and try and pay them off, or decide what's more important over something else and wait out. So it's I just need to string some nice months together. That's all I'm praying for, because it'll build up the pot. So I just seen in the chat. But yeah, such is life, innit? At least the van's going strong, but now I've said that, something will happen. I just hope everyone else is being all right. So all these things just tend to go wrong, don't they? And all at once or one after the other. But that's life, innit? I suppose. It's a test of character, is how you just put your head down and get on with it. Could always be worse, I suppose. So I've just seen Marcus come up, and there's stuff in YouTube live chat comes up quicker than what's in what I use eCam. It's a little bit behind, not too bad. Yes, mate, it is good on the soffits and gutters. I was using it today. I went to see a friend of mine. It's a 40-minute drive to get there, so it's a 40-minute drive back. We had an hour and a half sitting down with the brew and just chatting away. Then it was just over an hour I did cleaning his windows and the cladding at the front of the house, and I did the fascia, soffits and gutters as well at the front, and then at the back I just did the windows. Then we had another cup of tea and that, and then I drove home and I used it on there as well. So yeah, I like it, and like I said, I used it Friday for the first time and I was pretty impressed with it, to be honest. But on Friday I was working on bungalow, so it wasn't like really high up stuff, although today was on a house, so it got to the second story, but it wasn't over any extensions or conservatory roofs. But I can tell you the brush is obviously super light, so I know on them awkward angles it's going to be really good and easy, a lot easier to use than my normal window cleaning brush, which are them funny angles. And with your pole really extended, especially if I'm using that 35-foot pole at a funny angle, it's going to be so much easier. Yeah, and I really liked it. So I'm just looking at the questions coming in the chat. John's saying, question for later, anyone got any dealings with clean link poles? Hopefully spelt that right. I know what you mean. And you'll try the tiny Gardiner brush. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute. And I've seen clean link poles come up quite a lot, like in Jake's Smelts lives. They tend to, a lot of people, and I think in his Discord as well, use that for when they're pressure washing and they're doing a bit of, say, fascia, soffits and gutters or window cleaning. They like to use that pole, and I think they also use it for roof cleaning. Darren from DA Components, I think in one of his videos he just released, was it today, about like the backpacks, well, not backpacks, but it's to do with clearing out gutters and the kit he uses, and I'm sure he mentioned the clean link pole there for washing all the fascias and soffits down. I think they're worth a look, mate. I'm starting to notice them more, let's put it that way, and see them about. So, and I think websites like Equip to Clean stock them. I'm sure there's obviously more as well. So, you know what I mean? They're obviously must be a good price point, I think. But obviously I've got my pole and I'm happy with that, although I've got to replace section 1 and section 2, as you probably saw in my video last week. But I'm just waiting for the bank balance to build up before I buy that, because I don't want to go short and then we get a couple of days where we lose work, if you get what I mean. I'd rather wait towards near the end of the month. So cheers, Dawn. Yeah, I'm sure he did. Darren did mention it. So yeah, you know, but I've got to replace section 1, section 2, but for now I'm getting by. They're meant to be anti-spin, the clean link poles as well. No, I mean, I'm happy with my kit, so I use it. I mean, yesterday, I was potting around in the van with those Gardiner brush pole holders that, God, name's gone now. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't say it. That's it, Rutex Designs. I brought two. I brought a single one and a double one. So I've got a double one up for my son, and then I put a single one in the back of the van near the pole that my other son uses when he helps out. So and the brush is on there for him as well. So I'm pleased with that. It's made the van a little bit more tidier and look better than how I've had it. Angus saying the web app is a pain in the arse to try and build. Oh yeah, your app. So you're hoping to get it working right, because you've got a bit of time in your hands. Should be able to get it done soonish. Nothing's easy, is it, Angus, mate? Been working on a bit of my website today, and sometimes you think something's going to be easy, and it's just a simple little thing holds you back, doesn't it? And then you've got other times where you think the job's going to be a nightmare, and you're all right, fly through it, and it surprises you. So just take your time, mate. Don't rush it, and like you say, get it right. So yeah, nothing's easy. Should hopefully come out fine, but like I say, just take your time, test it and all that lot. Be interesting, wouldn't it? Like apps. I've got a good app on my phone actually that I use, where you just input fields and it'll tell you the measurements you need when you're like mixing chemicals, so you can have it in ratios. And there's two other ways of doing it. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, and you can put different measurements in there. So you just basically say how much you want to make, and it'll tell you how much water and how much chemical you need to get the amount you're after. It's really handy. Yeah, keep us posted, Angus, mate. And I like using that app because it saves the old maths in the head. But let's see if I can find this micro brush. Right, I've just got it, and then what I'll do is chuck it up on the old screen share for you. So you probably noticed in one of Matt's videos, that's where I mentioned the brush and someone had told him about it. I've never seen it before. It's been on their website, but it's this little thing. I bought two of them, one for me, one for my son. See, it's 24 quid. In fact, I was meant to get out of the van to show you, because it's pretty much... You can put it up here as a tash if you're doing fancy dress, if you get what I mean. And it's 24 quid each, so I bought two of them, and I've got 50-degree fan jets with them. And with Gardeners, you can change your jets out for pencil jets and all that with all their brushes, so you could do that with this, I suppose. And it's perfect. I absolutely love this little thing. You can just see what it's saying. It's 12 centimeters wide, 5 inches, so it's smaller than you know what. And it's really lightweight, 95 grams, which you would expect for something that's really small. And like I said, it's designed to fit in all the small areas for cleaning glass and so on. And I'll talk about something else that come in handy for. And it's flocked bristles. It's saying you can use it for water temperatures up to 45 degrees Celsius. And you get the jet capsules of your choice. Like I said, I went for the red 50-degree fan jets. And does the normal thing is saying you may have to trim the brushes, that sort of thing, which is bog standard with Gardeners. And then it comes with the T-connector and the jet hose for you. And the brush socket is moulded onto it, so you don't unscrew it, it's just completely on there. What I will say is when me and Matthew, when I was excited and it come through the post, I took it off and it fitted on my gooseneck, and I've just recently replaced my gooseneck for just a newer one because mine was a bit battered, whereas Matthew still had an older one, and he couldn't fit his brush on that, yet it would fit on mine easier. So just the bit where it connected on with the quick lock bit just seems to be a bit thicker, so I've brought him a new one that we come in through this week, and hopefully it'll address that problem for him. So it's something to be aware of. You might find if you've got not a brand new one on there, it might not fit, but if you buy a new one, even though it looks exactly the same, it just seems to fit on there better. Yeah, Marcus, it does make life a lot easier. And I was really happy, really pleased with it. So I look forward to Friday. So that's the good thing about buying these little things and trying them. You suddenly become really super interested. One of the cleans that I used it on for the fascia softeners and gutters, it's absolutely brilliant, nice and light. And like I said, because it was bungalows, it wasn't like a full-on test, so to speak. But I was up close and personal, so I could watch how it goes. I like it. I like using the swivel goosenecks from Gardiner, the quick lock ones. What can I see? I'll just try and get something on the website to try and explain it a bit better. Sorry, just bear with me. Goosenecks. Open it in another tab. Yeah, Mark, it's a good little brush for 24 quid, but I'll reveal more. But you probably know, or may not know, with the Gardiners on here, this is like the quick lock system. So it's got a little nipple on there, and you can exchange the brushes with their brush sockets with Gardiners. That's why I like it. It makes it really quick. But this is fixed. There's no swivel on there. I've got one where this end bit here, there's a swivel attached to it, or you can buy one like this where it's completely fixed. And you've got two different options to have a swivel, basically. Just try and show the one I've got, if I can find it, which is this one. So you'll see it's exactly the same as the one I showed you before on the length. It's just the end bit here. It's this bit where the cursor is, that's where the pivot is, and this bit here is what swivels. And that's the gooseneck I use. And if you put a bog standard brush socket on there, which I can't see a picture of to refer to quick. Not one of these ones. If you've got like the first gooseneck that I was trying to show you where it's permanently fixed, you can add this brush socket on and you'll see the pivots on the socket. And obviously you can have one that's angled like this, or what probably everyone will get is one where it's straight. So this just screws onto your brush and you can see it pivots much closer to the brush rather than where it's close, a bit further sat behind basically on the gooseneck. But what it means is if you're going to change the brush and put it on another pole, it's always going to have this swivel. So that's why I went the other way around, where I've got the swivel actually on the gooseneck, and then on every single brush I haven't got the picture to show you, the bog standard brush socket, which basically hasn't got this swivel. So if I put it on another pole, because I want something fixed, I can. So I tend to work with my brush as a swivel gooseneck, so it swivels all the time when I'm doing fascia softs and gutters. And I know some people don't like it fixed. I've just learned to live with it being swiveled, and I found it works in my favour, and the same for doing a conservatory roof. But it's not everyone's cup of tea. It's only trial and error, and you find out what you like or dislike and the different ways of going around it. I can't see a picture of that socket. Anyway, so that's the different goosenecks, and I have a swivel gooseneck, so all my brushes swivel. The only way, if I want a fixed on my brush to be fixed on the gooseneck, is what you can do with the Gardiner stuff as well, is like, for example, for this one at the bottom I'll have a John Guest fitting, so I can disconnect that from my pole hose easily, and then just basically change round that gooseneck for one that's fixed, put that back, attach it to my pole hose, and then just attach my brush on there. And that's how I would go if I wanted to use something that was either a swivel or not a swivel, as opposed to on the brush you'd have to change the brush socket, if that makes sense, between fixed and a swivel one. So that's the way I work. That's the way I work. Neil saying 100% gooseneck makes life easier once you get used to them. Yeah, it'll have like a mind of its own, but like I say, you just learn how you can master it quite easy, because you can use what you're cleaning, can't you, to manipulate the brush to where you want it when it's trying to fight and go another way. And I find it much easier for me when I'm doing the fascia, soffits and gutters on a swivel gooseneck. I change the angle of the gooseneck. Instead of being how we normally have it, like, you know, 30, 45 degrees, I have it vertical. The brush then swivels like this, but I can twist the pole, push up, and then the brush will change direction. So if there's a gutter here, I can wash the side of the gutter. So my hand here, if that makes sense, the brush is on there. I can push underneath and it will go straight, twist the pole, and now my brush is doing the underneath of the gutter. And I can just do the same for the fascias, same for the soffits. And I'm not having to put my pole up, my pole down to change the angle of the gooseneck to try and clean particular angles, bits of the fascia, soffits and gutters. So it saves me time. That's how I do it, using a swivel, and that's why I've got used to it. Plus, when your pole's going over funny angles, like over extension buildings or conservatory roofs, I just find it's a time saver, and I don't have to change the angle of the gooseneck. I just get used to it. And especially if you're using a TFR, or like I use Synergy Clean Pro, you hardly have to scrub and the stuff comes off. So I'll just go to some of the comments. That's an old one there, isn't it? Bedtime. Yes, Neil, I haven't put that up. That's from the last week's. So yeah, gooseneck makes life easier. Hi James, mate, you alright? Thanks for your comment the other day. Dawn saying as well, swivel for window cleaning, but you like to use rigid for gutters and the fascias, but always willing to experiment. Yeah, try it with the swivel. Probably if you're doing a bungalow, it'd be easier because you can see it in front of you, can't you? It's harder, obviously, the higher it is. And just see what you think. What I said, we have the gooseneck vertical, and you can always just push the brush, you can twist the pole round, and you find it's just quicker rather than change the angle of the gooseneck, or it is for me, and I got used to it. Mark is saying using a 23 centimetre flocked brush with a fixed swivel brush for soffits and gutters at the moment. But this little brush could be better for getting in those awkward areas underneath the gutters. Yep, I'll talk about that. It's good for the brackets and the unions as well. So I might as well go into it. Great little brush. I did a little bit on, again, it was a bungalow, the fascia, soffits and gutters, so I could see up close. It's just super light. On the swivel, like I said, it just makes me, or I like it. The only problem with something small is when you've got, say, a long brush, it can stay straight or level on what you're cleaning easier than that small one, because it's smaller. When you're trying to get it into them gaps, as Marcus was mentioning, so you're trying to get right up behind, or between the fascia and the gutter, so the awkward bits, it still doesn't quite reach them areas. But with the fan jets going up there and the TFR, sometimes you can jet stuff out. So the brushes are only a little bit longer, I'd say, than your brush probably that you're currently using. Not enough to be a super difference. It'd be great if they're really longer. But because it's so small, it's very easy to twist on this swivel gooseneck. So you just got to be a bit slow and a bit careful. That's what I've found. But it's so much lighter. It's a lot better on your arms, shoulders and your back, that's for sure. But it's perfect, especially on the swivel gooseneck. So you can change the angles without bringing your pole up and down, like I was saying, and the brush, bristles of the brush, you can dig them in the brackets a lot easier. So I didn't really use my muck-off brush at all on Friday, just in a couple of places for some stubborn egg sacs, and that was it. So I found it really good. But after I did a small section, it really surprised me how cracking it is on conservatory roofs, because I did a conservatory roof on that job as well. And oh my God, it's brilliant. Really surprised me. So this micro brush is definitely going to be fascia, soffits and gutters, gable ends and conservatory roofs. It was wicked. Hi Craig, you alright mate? It surprised me. Now I'll try and describe, because I haven't got any pictures of the conservatory roof I was cleaning. It's polycarbonate roof, wasn't massive and wasn't really in that dirty condition. Just like surface dirt and a bit of green here and there. But it was 4 sides, and it had obviously finials and crestings in the middle, normal thing. But think of an L shape of it at the back, and the side was against the actual building of the bungalow. So I had to extend my pole by 2 sections to reach the fascia, soffits and gutters behind the conservatory roof, and obviously on the conservatory roof itself to clean it, and the same on the other side. But because this small brush is so light, it was well easy to do, and I used the Synergy, sprayed that on with my sprayer pole, so it doesn't take a lot of scrubbing and it gets the dirt to come off, luckily. But when I was doing the crestings and all the finials on the conservatory roof, this small brush, being so light as well and holding the pole vertical to get to it, light as hell, and because it's so small and nimble, it was really good at yeah, Mills is saying that it's good for the finials. It's totally, that's what made me just think I love this brush and I'm going to use it on the roofs all the time. It's so nimble and getting in the places. It's much easier to get into the decorative bits and get all the green out there, especially when you're using a TFR or your Synergy or whatever your choice is using. But it's so small as well, you can do all the thin top bits. You know, if someone was looking out of an upstairs window and the very top bit of each individual cresting on top there, it's so easy to get your brush there as opposed to your bigger brushes for cleaning the windows, which can come across a bit clumsy. So this is perfect, nice and light, great for getting in small places. It's probably not going to be every single conservatory roof, but these are quite small and they're small enough to fit. You know, when you've got the crestings and then you've got that gap, because it was a panel roof, so it could be panel or glass, where there's a little gap between the crestings and the panels. This fitted in perfect in there and got the cobwebs out, where sometimes I'd have to use a squeegee on the pole to hook out bits of like moss and spider webs and any debris that's up there, whereas this was perfect. I'm sure it's not going to work all the time like that for every conservatory roof, but it was brilliant. And then I thought, do you know what, I'm going to keep it on while I do the entire roof. So I'm just keeping my eye on the comments as well. Yeah, Marcus, I have thought I'm going to have to make a video on using this, say, on a conservatory roof or something like that, or fascia, soffits and gutters. I was just explaining to my wife, it's hard to do videos when you're on a day where we've got so much work lined in. It might be if I'm doing a certain house and want to, say, film one of these, I'll have to do it in my own time on a Saturday, so I can go nice and slow, get some good footage, that sort of thing, rather than rushing it and maybe not do such a good job. So that's my idea with that, but I definitely can't wait to make a video on it. But anyway, you know, on the conservatory roofs with the panels, you've got the ones in the middles, they're kind of like rectangle shape, but as you get towards the ends, they taper off into triangle. So this little brush is good for getting in the triangle bits as well. It was, compared to my bigger brush, it's way quicker, so much easier. Even though the brush is smaller and you think it's got to cover a large area, in fact, it's easy. And do you know what it reminded me of? Keep it in the pocket. With the quick lock system as well, it's easy to change around, and if you just leave it at the bottom of your step ladder with, you know, your backpack, if it's got all your TFR in it in there, so that way all your kit's in one place, don't forget it. But it's great, honestly. And the best way is what I was thinking is, I don't know if any of you seen the Marshall Pro or Air roof cleaning, because you know you've got the brushes as well as the scrapers. And then his brush is really small on the air thing, and obviously it's blowing out air, but he's saying because the brush is so small, it's really nice and light the way it works. This is the window cleaning brush equivalent of that, is the best way I can put it. So even though it could be a big roof and he's using a little small brush, it's cleaning it, and this is what it did to the conservatory roof. The one I was cleaning admittedly didn't need tons of work to come up nice, but using the Synergy on there, using this, you can reach all the way like across the conservatory to the far side. I was getting all the white framework done, and because it's on the swivel, just twisting the pole and changing the angle of the gooseneck, again just sped up the whole job, and I managed to clean it all. And it's easier this side brush as well to get down to the end trims and the end caps on the conservatory roof, and especially for the bits that are awkward, because behind it was the fascia, soffits and gutters of the actual building. This was a dream, no problem. So I think it's speeded up my conservatory roof cleaning, especially on the finials and the crestings, the frameworks, the trims and the end caps, because it was just a piece of piss, and with a gooseneck as well. Brilliant. Is there, Mills? I haven't seen any other videos, but like I said, someone mentioned it to Matt, and I saw it on Matt's video and I thought, you know, I'm going to give that a go because it would give my arms a break. And I just thought it'd do better than what you expect. It definitely is. Yeah, Marcus, it is hard doing 20 cleans and film it, but you just try and get... I put an action camera basically on my head, or I just put something down on the floor. Mark was pretty amazed, because he's saying it's like sometimes as if you got a production crew with it, but I'm not. It's just the one camera, and it's with the magnetic fittings and stuff. I can take it off like a head mount onto like a mini tripod. So I'm trying to still work like normal, because otherwise my son will be peed off that I'm taking longer filming and he's doing the work. So I'm trying to do my share and film all at the same time. But you just have to think fast of what you think someone will look at. That's why when you get home, you often think that didn't come out that good, or bonus. And it's just like anything, trial and error, and you learn. But yeah, this brush is absolutely, honestly, it's brilliant on the conservatory roof. Made life a lot easier. The fan jets are brilliant for rinsing. And my arms were nowhere near as knackered as what they normally are after doing like lots of jobs like that. Really, really good. Ah, okay, so that was you, was it, Mills, who mentioned it to Matt? It's a good idea, yeah, for the kids to have a go. It is really, really good. I'm glad you mentioned it to Matt, and when he said it, I just thought, hang on, I'll give it a go. That's why I brought two, one for me, one for Matthew. And I thought, sod it, I'm going to use it on the conservatory roof. Just doesn't seem right, something that small, but made light work of it, because it's all lightweight, easy to get in the little corners. It's honestly, it's perfect. And if you're using like your TFRs, your Synergy, it just helps all that grime come off really easy as well. And I actually think it would probably be good for lichen as well. But I suppose stubborn lichen might be different as it being flocked, but come across that bridge when I come across it, you know what I mean? But it is a really good brush. Great for rinsing down quickly. It's good for the downpipes as well. It's just harder on a swivel gooseneck than if I had my bigger brush on there. You seem to be able to, because it's a bigger brush, it's easier to push against the surface you are, but because it's smaller, it can get caught and flip round. I think with me is it comes obviously with the hoses on the brushes. It might be a case of me having to trim them down a bit. I trimmed them down a bit too much over the weekend, so I've had to use my son's one today on a job. So yeah, I'm just going to buy. I brought some more spare jet hose, so I can replace that and play around with different lengths till I find what suits me. Because I like to have it so the gooseneck can be straight or bent all the way like that. So you never get it perfect, but you want the middle ground so it can do both options really. So there's probably a bit of faffing around and trimming things, but in there always till you get it to how you want it, so it makes the job easier when you're using it. But it's really good. No worries, Marcus. Have a good week, mate. And yeah, it's just brilliant. Nice and light, nice and handy. Small places, shockingly good on the conservatory roofs. And it's probably going to speed me up cleaning conservatory roofs, I think, to be honest. And it's just perfect. And like I say, and even when you're finished, you can rinse off the ground, can't you, with the fan jets, and away you go. So it'll all be clean. So I hope this is still filming. The telly's just connected to Amazon, so it's come up with something, but it's all good. So Mills Cleaners just said the only thing he found is the bristles don't seem to last long as normal, not the brushes, because you're on your second one now. Wow. Could work out expensive really if it don't last long. I know you say it's £24, but two of them and it's about the same as a brush. It's all trial and error, but I think, mate, I would be happy to replace them and buy another one. I did think I wondered if they'd do a DuPont version as well as just flocked. I think that would be good for the conservatory roofs and the stubborn lichen and stuff like that. And it'd be nice as well if they lasted longer. But I wonder if these become more popular, if other suppliers will try and come out with a similar brush in the lines that they do. Who knows? But it's honestly, it's great. It is shockingly, it's good. That's all I can say. I didn't do any gable ends today. It was just fascias, soffits and gutters. It was a terraced house. It took me 10 meters of fascia, soffits and gutters. And this is including me setting up, getting a gardener's backpack, my pole that I used to spray chemical on, and then going to my water-fed pole with the micro brush on. 10 minutes, clean, done. So, and it hadn't been cleaned for since last time I cleaned it, so it was well over a year. Absolutely brilliant. And I was also thinking, if you're getting some just tough, hard little reach areas, you know, when say you're cleaning the conservatory, because I did think this on Friday, and you've got a down pipe and it's on the edge and it's hard to fit your brush in, something like small like this will get in there and just detail those sort of areas rather than you try and stick your finger in there and jets coming out your brush at the same time. So it was great for that as well. It's really good. Oh, sorry, I've pressed the wrong button for the comments. Paul's just thrown me there saying, not sure if it's meant for making water for a fish tank. Is that meant to be for someone else, is it, mate? Sorry, Paul. Don't know if someone's asked a question. But yeah, just cracking brush, honestly. It's brilliant, I think. So looking forward to using it. Be interesting. Should say previous comment. Your comment, is it, mate? So I'm just looking back at him. Don't worry, Paul. I was looking through the comments thinking, what have I missed? No, you're right, mate. Yeah, I had someone get in touch with me as well last night. God, I don't know if you're watching, mate, if you're on here. I can't remember what your company was called now. Again with a K, but you're from Dereham in Norfolk, and he was just asking me questions about like water purification, and so he's pricing stuff up basically. He's already got 40 customers at the moment. But yeah, DI is expensive, and his TDS is 300. I can't remember if it's 340 or 360. That's really high, isn't it? I know around that area is a lot of, I think, limestone. I know when I've dug trenches around there, you swear when you hit that stuff. Yeah, but if anyone on here's questions, just reach out, just ask. I don't mind helping you out. Half the time I'm sat there watching something rubbish on the telly anyway. But I'm keen to help people out. People have helped me, so you just repay it back, don't you? Build up a nice community of people. It's good. Sorry, Neil's just saying, oh yeah, I've used them before, mate. Wrong screen again. Me and buttons. The younger light brushes. Oh, you cut them down, okay. Yeah, the gutters are real. Bristles on them are really young. Young? Long. Can't speak. I'll just try and shut up for those who don't know. They've got loads of different brushes. I can't find the one. I know what it, well, the one I used to use and look like anyway. But I think what I had to do with my one when I got it was I had to take off the younger brush socket, and I had to super glue a Gardiner's socket on there so it'd fit my gooseneck basically, and that's how I got through that one. to show me his connection kit. Oh yeah, no, that'll be a good one actually. Right, I think I found a picture. I also swapped round the pole hose as well, but this is the brush Neil's on about, so I can't enlarge it. Oh, I can do that. Nice one. Yeah, so it's got there. I just had to unscrew that, but I couldn't screw in the Gardiner's brush head, so I just super glued it on it. Yeah, changed it to a quick lock one. Yeah, Neil. Yeah, I think I super glued mine on, but these green bristles here are, would you say, Neil, like double the size of the brushes everyone's probably using on their poles? They are super long. And I remember seeing it on one of Ashley's videos from AE Macintosh, and I just thought that sounds like that's what I'm looking for, but I can't remember why I stopped using it. I just think it seemed a bit big and bulky, so I stopped using it in the end. But I do love this micro brush. I did keep it for a few years, but I think a couple of weeks ago I actually binned it. It's not too heavy though, I think, for the size, because if I remember rightly, I had little holes cut along there, so it wasn't that heavy. But yeah, I know that was a popular brush used a while back for people to clean fascias, soffits and gutters, and the green bristles really do go up behind, and I think it's got pencil jets as well. So yeah. Does anyone else use that brush, by the way? Just be interesting to see what other people's thoughts are. But the micro brush surprised me, especially for the conservatory roof. Honestly, it's really good. And like I say, just look at Marshall Air and look at the size of the brush he uses that compared to the brushes he'd use for roof cleaning, and you can see the idea like between the micro brush and your water-fed pole brush. It's kind of like similar. I think it's brilliant. And like I say, excellent for the conservatory roof. I enjoyed it mainly because it's something different as well. It's definitely got me cursing and swearing a bit though. Bit of a mind of its own with the old swivel gooseneck because it's a lot smaller. But I think once you know how it's going to work, you can kind of, like I say, just manipulate things so it accidentally works in your favour, if you get what I mean. Yeah, Neil's saying they're easily double the length of a normal brush, the bristles, so they really... So is it Angus or... He was asking about, was it Marcus, about getting up behind, between the fascias and the soffits. That brush will definitely do it. And then I think because I'm size, like Neil or Nelly saying in the chat, cuts them down, as in the brush, I think, not the actual bristles. So it's smaller and easier to use. You always modify these things, don't you, to make them a bit better. But yeah, like I said, that's it. That's all I want to talk about. The micro brush used Friday, used it today, only on fascias, soffits and gutters. I said 10 meters, 10 minutes, done. It's really handy actually on that job because he's got an aerial, and the big brush to get the other side would have been hard to get to because I had to lean over a tree with my pole, so I was already at an angle, and then try and get around the metal pole for like the satellite dish. And this little small micro brush just fitted in there perfect. With a bigger brush it would have been a bit of a problem. So Angus just making me laugh. Gotta get that comment up. Weren't me, I've got a ladder and a toothbrush. It's all them years cleaning things, parade squares with a toothbrush and all that sort of thing. Do weird stuff. Tell you what I've noticed about making these videos is how big my belly's getting. Must be the camera or the funny angles, I think. So yeah, I've cut down a little bit, and I'm trying to eat salads now for me lunch. I'm enjoying them actually, and I've got a cool box in the van, so it keeps everything nice and cool in there. It don't take long to eat. It's quick, easy, and bang out. Get working again. Middle-aged spread coming at me with a vengeance, I think. It can't be because you're using water-fed pole, because it is hard work. I mean, I'm doing 13,000 steps. I'll be doing more because obviously I've got Matthew working with me. If you get what I mean. So if I was doing it all on my own, I'd be shifting a bit more. I think it was the lad I was speaking to last night. I was just saying, I think he's done 3 days. He said he's knackered. But I was like, you get used to it. But he honestly said, I don't know how people do it every day in and out. But you could say that about anything, couldn't you? I mean, I used to laugh like with me mates. You go to the gym and stuff. You can lift some weights or do your pull-ups, you're running, you do all this and you think you're fit, yet you hold a little toothbrush. You've got toothbrush on my mind now. Paintbrush in your hand and your hand's up in the air. Your arm's aching within about 10 seconds. Don't know how people do that all day. You know what I mean? It's not easy, is it? Keep saying, you know what I mean at the moment. Got to get that out. So yeah, has anyone got any general questions or things you want to talk about in the window cleaning world or what's going on? I have no idea what the weather's going to be like this week. Haven't looked that far ahead. I'll just concentrate on tomorrow and I'll look at that later tonight. But my van's all washed. I've washed it at Tesco's on the way back from my mate's house because my jet washer's not working. I've brought some O-rings to go on the Karcher. It's not the Karcher hose. I brought a different hose from Direct Hoses, 15 meters long. They sell the O-rings for it, put them on, and it won't fit in the machine because the O-rings had gone. So I've bought some ones from Screwfix. I'm waiting for them to be delivered to the Screwfix near us so I can go and pick them up and I'll see if they're any different. And then part of me's thinking, is it the fitting that the hose goes into? Is that knackered? Nothing's easy, is it? I can't wash my van until I get it sorted, and I can't carry on doing a bit of pressure washing around my garden, which I wanted to tidy a few things up. A month behind on that because you get weather or busy doing other stuff. It's just crazy, innit? Always on the go. I've got some spare bits as well for my Gardiner's backpack version 3. They're always... let's see if I can find them. Cheap bits anyway. So it's handy just whenever I put an order in, I just buy like some spare switches. Because they're only like a couple of quid. And I don't know about anyone else if you've got a Gardiner's backpack. I think the most common thing I find that goes on mine needs replacing is the switch. So I've always got some spares there. So there's the Gardiner's site with backpack spares version 3. They're not a lot at all. I mean, like fuse is 35p, 75p, but the switch, where are you? £1.95p. That's the most common bit that goes wrong on mine. I just take it out, put a new one in. I have stripped down a switch before and just cleaned the connectors up and it worked. Charging socket, £1.95. The expensive bits is the flow controller. There's £11.50. But the pump is £22.50. DA components, 34 quid for a chemical one that will fit in the Gardiner's backpack. Just make sure you double check how to fit it because it's slightly different to this one. You just put it the other way around, I think. Spare battery, 23 quid. That's the most expensive bit and parts. So If you got one of these, put an order in Gardiner's. I would buy a switch every now and then and some of these other handy spare parts, and you just swap them round. I've actually got 3 Gardiner's backpacks, but at the moment one of them works, and that's the one I use for now spraying Synergy. For some reason I've got one that doesn't work. It was something on my list to do this weekend, but I didn't get around to it. I was going to take bits apart and try and fault find the bit that's wrong, because I've got enough spares to replace all the bits in there. And then I've got another one that I've kind of used as spare parts in the end. So I'm thinking of buying all the bits to put in there to get that up and running as well. Just because, I mean, it costs you 60 quid, I think, in spares, for all the spares to go in the yellow container bit to get it working, or spend under 22 quid for a brand new one. Sorry, Neil just made a comment which is true. Only get a 3-month warranty on the Gardiner battery. I didn't know that. I knew it was a 6-month warranty on the backpack. Okay, so it could be the battery. Yeah, I've just got to play around and test it. I've been thinking about getting some spare, the bits that run a Gardiner's backpack, make a circuit in my garage so that you can just test the bits in there to see if the bit in my Gardiner's backpack works or not, if that makes sense. It's just getting the time, but you can play around with these things in the evenings, can't you? But I like the Gardiner's backpack. I'd rather get them repaired and get them going again. Like I say, the spare bits don't cost too much money. And it's just something to play around and learn, innit? And if I can get an old one back in service, it's just handy. If one goes, I can just swap it around with a spare and then fix the other one when I get a bit of time. It's also handy to let the kids have at home, because the pure water's at home and they can, with an old brush and pole, be cleaning the windows while I'm working to save me cleaning the house on a weekend. Sorry, Mills is just, wrong button again. So you're saying you've replaced your battery recently. Okay, and for a lithium ion battery, you have to change the charger too. Bit expensive, but makes it a little bit lighter, especially when empty. That's a good point, yeah, with the battery. That's a good upgrade there, mate. That's making me think now about the one it's just the skeleton of a backpack. Could try doing something like that myself, mate. That's a good tip, that. And it, like I say, it'll last longer as well. I wonder how many hours you get out with a lithium battery, because on the website, doesn't it, says it should run 9 hours. So you're obviously going to get a lot more maybe with the lithium, or it could be the same. It's just obviously the battery's a bit smaller and that much lighter as well. Not sure. That sounds a really good upgrade. But yeah, I always, like I said, when I buy something off Gardiner's, I'll chuck in a couple of spares from the backpack. It's quite handy to have a pump, because I find when my backpack sounds louder than normal, I know the pump soon will probably go, and that's when I normally order one, so it's on the shelf. So when it does finally stop working, I'll be like, right, I noticed the pump gone, because I noticed it's a bit louder when we're using it from a bit before, so chances are it's the pump. But it's a great little thing, really. Does anyone use any different backpacks other than the Gardiner's? Because I know if you look on Jake's Smout's channel, he's got a new backpack because his Gardiner's is eventually packed up, and it's half the price of a Gardiner's backpack. And you can see he's thinking, because he's put chemicals through it. So if it costs 50 quid and you're putting chemicals, it's going to go wrong anyway. It's just 50 quid for a new one. So why spend too much money on a backpack? But I think the Gardiner's backpack, out of all the backpacks I've seen out there, is the better looking one. A lot of people like it because of the carrying handle. And I think out of all in there, it looks better made, so your customer won't think it's too tatty as well, I think. Oh, Nelly's saying the big boy backpacks are good. I'm crossing my fingers here for the word big boy on the internet. See what it throws up. But if I put backpack in there, it'll be easier. So it's a little bit more than the Gardiner's backpack. With VAT, call it 180 quid. I think it holds the same, doesn't it? I think Gardiner's is 22 litres. You get 6 months warranty, so probably pretty much the same, I suppose. Yeah, got to be careful on the big boy. I'm sure it's about the same in litres as well. Yeah, 22 litres, sorry. There, I'm reading it. Capable of working 40 to 60 PSI. Like I said, I've seen them and I think the handle's on the side. I remember Sid from Partridge, he used to use this a lot when I first started watching him when he was scraping rather than pressure washing. He used to use that for applying bar side on the roofs. Does anyone here use them at all? Oh, okay, Angus. So you're saying a year in now and you've got between 75, or got about 75 customers spread between 4 and 8 weekly. Really trying to push for more customers in the Facebook groups and such like, and leafleting neighbouring houses. Basically, Angus after there's any suggestions where you should venture into Facebook ads or anything like that. So I'll come to you in a minute, Craig. I'd avoid Facebook ads. I did try it once, but I didn't really know how it worked. And I just thought I'm throwing money away. And I just tested it with a small amount of money, which to be honest is not going to get you much return. I think you've got to spend a fair bit amount of money. But I think if you listen to the Uncleanables, they do all like Google ads as well and Facebook ads. It's probably worth watching theirs. But I would probably make my own adverts in the own local groups. Just check with the admin of the groups how many posts a week you can do, because they don't like too much being thrown in. And you might find some of the admins will say to you only post on the Monday, that sort of thing. So you don't want to piss people off. And like Neil said before, just put a couple of pictures of you, like your van or something, cleaning the window, and just say we've been working in such and such today. And that's not going to cost you anything, is it? I'd rather do that, I think, than the ads. But like you say, you're doing that anyway. Leaflets are not bad. I'd go around knocking on doors, and if they're not in, stick a leaflet through the door. And I used to do that when I was trying to build up my rounds. When I had no work on, I'd be out, or if I'd done my cleans for the day and I had a couple of hours spare, I would drive somewhere and push some leaflets out in the hope that I'm going to get something. Just bear with it, mate. I think the more customers you start getting, the more the word is spread, if that makes sense. So people are spreading the word, but I just think when you've got a lot more customers, it's a lot easier. And I found myself with Facebook, I was getting the wrong customer. I was getting people who are after one-off cleans and probably didn't want to pay a lot, and I was underpriced myself massively anyway, so I'd probably come across like that. But I think what happens is, on these, still use them, is when people ask on these groups, looking for a window cleaners, anyone recommend? And when you start getting loads of people name dropping you, I think the people who are chances don't bother you anymore, because they probably see you're a bit busy and therefore a bit more wiser. I think when you're starting out, you get the funny ones, if that makes sense. But every lead is worth chasing up, because work leads to work. So yeah, it's a bit wrong one again. So yeah, I probably wouldn't bother with Facebook ads, mate. I'd just do what you're doing, really. Have you got any local like magazine that you can advertise in? There's a magazine that does our village, but also a lot of the neighbouring villages. What's it called? Village Voices is what it is. It has a few articles in there and a lot of pages where you pay to advertise. And I just paid for the smallest slot, which was the size of a business card. And I just used one side of my business card, actually, because it just lists me services and phone number, and that cost me 60 quid for a year, and I got work off that. I took it out when I was too busy. I just said to him, look, I'd love to keep it in there, but I have to keep saying no to people at the moment, so therefore it just seems a bit silly. But that was good. You know what I mean? If you've got one customer, you think you're going to double that in a year easy, aren't you? More from just one customer. So if you've got a little local magazine where you can put an advert in, and I think it's printed just by volunteers and delivered by volunteers, that sort of thing. So compared to what other people charge, it's good. I think, didn't Ryan say, or someone was saying they're paying £100 a month? No, that was Tom, I think, from called Rinse Clean, is it? Because he's got a couple of channels. I think he's saying £100 a month, and he's scrapping that. I was like, bloody hell, I was paying £60 for the year. So they tend to be good. And have you heard of something called Nextdoor? Let me try and, gotta be careful when I say get that up with all this talk of big boy. I hate it when it asks me to sign in. I just don't want to sign in. Well, I won't sign in anyway because I don't want to show you things perhaps that I shouldn't be doing. Not sure. If you type in Nextdoor, this is what you're looking for, and then basically you get an account. That's their website and all that kind of stuff. But like for me, I sign in. I'm in a village called Parson Drove, so I join the Parson Drove village, but it also attaches you so you can see the neighbouring villages in your area, so you can post it. It all goes into them. The best way to describe Nextdoor is it's like Facebook but for adults, although they're starting to put more adverts in than they used to, and it's really good. I tell customers when new people come in the area, I just say, have you used Nextdoor before? They go no. I say, right, get an account for Nextdoor, turn the notifications off so your phone doesn't keep going every 5 seconds, because people are, you know, saying I've seen your cat or seen a dog running down the road, that sort of thing, and use it stealthily. So you just go on there and you'll see local people asking, anyone know a good plumber? And you'll just see the same names coming up with numbers, and then you can write them on your notepad, and you'll start to see who in the local area is good at what they do without even having to say anything. And it's really good. And you can do like a business page like you do on Facebook, and you can put posts in there, and your elderly customers probably will have a lot of them in there, and you'll get work through it that way and suggestions, and it doesn't cost anything. That's my advice there, really, Angus. So I'll just go to Craig at the moment. It's got the SLX8 after seeing you use the short pole for lower work. Brilliant recommendation. Wasn't sure if I'd want to keep swapping poles, but it does make a difference. Yeah, mate. Now, they're really good. Like I said, if you're had a tough day and your arms are aching in lower stuff, just get the shorter pole. It just feels so much lighter and different to work with. So it kind of breaks up, you know what I mean, the same old same. And you'll get to the point where you'll start cleaning all the upper windows, go back to your van, even if you're around the back of the house, and then pull out the small pole to do all the lower stuff with a small pole, because you just think this feels awesome. It's, honestly, you get excited and carried away with it. And the SLX8, I think, is a good size. Because like you've probably seen the one I've got is it's a 4-foot pole, but it collapses down to 2 foot. But I have brought an 8-foot one through X-Line, and that's the one my other son David uses, because sometimes that 4-foot is just a bit too short. So the 8-foot I think would be perfect. Is the 8-foot one, mate? Because I'm sure Ched told me about this. It comes into, is it 3 sections? Wrong one. Again, is it 3 sections on there? Let's have a look. SLX8. Hi Matt, you alright? Yeah, sorry mate, I'll probably answer my own question there by having a look. So this is the SLX8, and you've got 1, 2, 3 sections. So it must fold down small. Yeah, 3-section pole, 8 foot. Does it say the collapsed length? Yes, closed length is 1 meter. Perfect. Do you know what? I might treat myself to one of those, Craig, because my 4-foot poles, I've had it for about 5 years. It's getting a bit worn, and it's thinking, do I buy another one? Or like you're saying, getting this 8 foot, because it comes in handy sometimes, and it does collapse down small, so it could be worth it. In fact, I might try it just to do something different. But it is great, these little short poles, mate. They are good. No worries, Matt. You're all right. Well done as well. I'm sure everyone's noticed Matt's hit the 1,000 subscriber mark, and I'm sure he's gone over it. So I just catching up. Mill saying get posting on Google Business. Yes, that's a cracking point to make. Right, let's see. Is it called Google My Business? Yeah, Angus. Just think, if you've got a website, that's going to get you rankings on Google. And then if you've got Google My Business or your business on Google, that also is going to rank on the web pages. So that's 2 things now going on the web page. And then obviously if you've got anything on Facebook, that's there. So potentially it's going to come up with 3 returns for people searching for you as well. And it's surprising, a lot of people like using Google Business. It's good to get I've forgotten what they're called now, your feedback, reviews, because people look at them. You can add it on the invoice. Why not leave us a review? And this will explain how to put the link on there, and you get reviews on there. Like I say, it's got links to your website, directions, your opening hours, and all that. As you can see on here, I put Google My Business, so it's come up with me on Google My Business. Right below it is my website. Right below that's Nextdoor. Obviously it's got crystal clean windows, my YouTube channel, my Facebook, and that's me basically. Doesn't come up with Twitter. So it's more returns on the Google search for people to find you. And then I haven't done it, but I do believe it's good to post pictures regularly on Google My Business, so Google can see you're active. And then if it sees you're active, it pushes you up the rankings a bit more. Just look up on YouTube how to do it all that, and you can get, I think it's called Google Business or Google, is it Meta Business, something like that. They change it, an app on your phone, and then customers can, it's like Messenger, but it's all kept in a tight spot, and you can have people coming in that way. Hopefully that all kind of like makes sense. So Mark's saying, I've put a stop valve on the lid of your Gardiner backpack. Oh, you've mentioned that before, yeah, for your hose to connect to it, so it never runs out of water when you're cleaning soffits, fascias, gutters, and conservatory roofs. That's a brilliant idea as well. So basically, you've got it on the floor. The customer's tap is constantly filling up the Gardiner backpack, but because it's got the stop valve on it, when it's full, it will just stop. And then as you're using it and it needs it, tops it up. So it's like a buffer tank. And then, like you say, you can probably have a longer hose for your pole. Well, you don't have to, do you? You just have to have a longer hose to reach the backpack to fill up with water, really. So I take it just plugs in. So it's just, I'll get it like in a buffer tank. And then that way, when you're cleaning the roof, it's just non-stop water. Now I'm to stop to refill up. That's a brilliant idea, that is. It's like borderline, well, it is. It's genius. Sorry, man, I'm just catching up with what Paul's saying. Yes, mate, get a Google business page up and running, and just put, like on your social medias, just put the same post on there, or pictures of you cleaning, that sort of thing, which is something I'm not good at doing. I need to be doing that. So when you make a little post you're going to throw up on Facebook and that, put it on there. Yeah, make your area quite small, keep everything compact. So Angus saying makes very much makes sense. It's sort of drying up at the moment, but I expect it to be even busier. And don't go for the ads on Facebook to make it a small area, so it's more targetable and get in the areas you want. Yeah, work definitely leads to work. That's what I always say. You know, sometimes when someone says near the end of the day, you've had a hard day, you want to go home, and someone says, can you quote? And you just really want to jump in your van and go home. It's surprising sometimes you go around there, you do a quote, and the next thing you know, you've come away with another 3 addresses to go and quote. And they turn out to be really good customers as well. Nice houses, like I say, you never know. So, and when you do a good job, you could be highly recommended. So again, like Nextdoor and all that stuff gets put on there, and family and friends. And I find as well, when people recommend you, you're going to get a better customer, because people don't recommend everybody, do they? They recommend people that they know is going to go and do a good job. So people take them recommendations on. So you get the better customer, I think, that way. So Neil's wrong button again. Oh God. Google ads are better. So it's better than Facebook ads. Okay, Google are putting your business in front of people who actually want your service, whereas Facebook just puts your business in front of anyone in your area. Yeah, and like I said, I found with Facebook it's just attracting the wrong customer for me when I was starting up. Don't get me wrong, I've got some good customers that way as well. And that's I started posting because Mark's good at putting on his social media, but then I started getting people asking me, will you come and do this or do that? And I'm like, I have to say no, because I'm just so busy. I haven't got room really. So I'm going to stop doing it, but definitely I think do it on your Google. Yeah, Angus, just have a look round, mate. There's some good people do some good videos on YouTube about Google business and how it works. Paul's saying you've tried doing a Google ad recently and for some reason it keeps telling you to complete the ad. But on the app it says it's ready, but it's not showing and you just can't figure it out. Oh, don't ask me, mate. I know I was doing stuff like I said, and it's just pence, but the money just went so quick, and I just thought, no, I'm not doing it that way. Word of mouth is the best, and I think slow growth is the best rather than going too fast, because you can figure things out and work things out at a more comfortable pace, if that makes sense. Neil, yeah, I've got the 8-foot X-line one as well in 2 sections. That's one David likes to use. I like using the X-line 8-foot brush. I brought it originally to be a trad pole. I thought it'd be awesome for that, but obviously I can also use it as a water-fed pole, which is what we do now. No, mate, you don't need, I believe, you don't need a website for Google business page, but if you've got a website, you can add it on there, so it'll kind of like leave a link to your website. It's not going to say you can't use it if you haven't got a website, basically. Yeah, Neil's just saying the same. So's Mills cleaning. Sweet as. Neil's just saying about Google Business, 80% of new inquiries come through. And you've got to think as well, Neil's got fans and lads working for him as well, so 80% is going to be a high number. And I think a lot of people like to see businesses on Google Business, because you can see all the reviews, things like that. Yeah, Paul thinks your idea is brilliant. Mark, I think it's a cracking idea. And if I could get one of my backpacks working, I could experiment on a spare, you know what I mean? James said he just remembered to do a job member you're doing tomorrow. I need to pull my... At least you remembered now, James. When taking a photo to post on Google Business, yeah, turn off your GPS, or what they call it, geo-tagging. Yeah, there, you've said it as well. So it geotags a photo because you have a roof cleaning photo with over 80k views. So basically people can trace and see exactly where it is, so your customer might not appreciate that. So that's a good tip. Yeah, definitely. I know, like when I was in the mob and the military, so what we got told, I mean, take pictures, take the geotagging off, because people can find out where you actually are and stuff like that. Technology is too clever in it, and if you're not onto these things, other people are. They do a CLX, a red version, because I think that's the one Ched's got. What happens if I just put 8 foot pole? Yeah, there's a CLX. Mind you, it's only 26 quid cheaper than the SLX, in it. That's without the VAT. $510 grams. And the SLX 8. 510 grams. Not really much in it apart from the price, and you're saving 26 quid, but that's carbon fibre, isn't it? Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about, if I have to replace my shorter brushes, I might get one of them. So Paul's just asking, anyone know if an RO system for a fish tank is any different to that used for window cleaning? My belief, Paul, is it isn't. Okay, glass fibre and carbon mixed, yeah. So it's like your hybrid pole. Is that right? Carbon and composite. And the SLX is just going to be carbon. Let's see what I can find out for you, Paul. Obviously, I'm just going to use the X-Line website. These are like the fish tank ones I think you're on about, mate. Bloody website. Right, is that the one you're on about, is it, Paul? Basically the same, because I believe you've got a membrane and you've got your sediment filters in here as well. So it works the same. It's just this one is, like you're saying, it's producing 200 gallons per day, but you can get where it looks the same on X-Line website anyway, and then you can get a 300 and a 500 gallon per day. Got you, mate. It does say here, this is an all-in-one filter system, comes complete with everything required to connect straight to the tap. The particular one I got up here is 200 gallons per day, but like I said, you can get a 300 and a 500 on the X-Line website. Water, reverse osmosis system supplied with a pre-filter housing, reverse osmosis filter, quick connect supply and garden connections, and 3 meters of polytube for installation. Right, it says key, so I don't know if it actually has. You probably have to go and then buy the membrane and pre-filters, I suppose. Yeah, gallons per day, mate. 24 hours. So it's saying this particular system with VAT 270 quid will produce 200 gallons of pure water non-stop in a 24-hour period. Obviously, if you've got a holding tank, once that's full, you probably need to get your own stop valve and all that kind of stuff. So you don't have to be there for it to stop producing water when your holding tank's full. But if it is on permanently filling, it'll make 200 gallons in a day. So depending on how much water you need per day, depends on what system you want. So like I said, that one's 200. And then you got 300 and 500, and then you get the bigger one. So that's 330 quid And then the 500 gallon per day is 349. Oh, there you go. Nelly's saying that's US gallons. Tells me it's just saying 500 gallons litres per day. There you go, 2,200. So if you're going to look around on the website, Paul, got where it says description, there's a tab to write additional information, and it'll basically tell you how many litres. So that's for the 500 gallons per day. You fill up 2 IBC tanks basically. Yeah, Nelly's just saying some of the conversions in there. And going back to 200 gallon per day, if I go in additional information, it's saying 900 litres per day max for 200 gallons per day. Well, I don't think the weight is 12,000 kilograms. It's got to be 12 kilograms. Yeah, and it's RODI 4-stage. Probably speak to the supplier there about how do you fit a stop valve and all that kind of stuff. And as well, Paul, you don't need a 1,000 litre IBC tank. I'll just go tank directs. Let's go IBC. Tend to be able to get 1,000 litre ones. Different price points. You can get reconditioned new ones and so on. But I bought mine for 50 quid and just washed it out myself. If you're going to get ones like second hand cheap, it's got to have had beef food grade in there. And then it's, once you've washed it out, like mine, it looked like treacle in the bottom, so it took quite a while to wash it out. But once I've done that, it's fine to put pure water in, and your TDS will be fine. Whereas I think if you have one that's got chemicals in it, it's probably going to play you about. So food grade is what you want it been used for before. I can't remember the lid sizes. Everyone else near might be able to tell you, Paul. On the top there, the lid, you got a small lid and there's a big lid. You want to get the one with the big lid because that means you can fit a submersible pump through it. If you get the smaller lid, you're going to have to cut a V so you can peel it back, drop it in. But what you can do is then the bit you've just cut the V in, or two slits basically, you can then roll it back and then tighten up with the lid, but you'll have some little gaps. But if you've got it inside a shed, it'll be fine, not outside. And keep your membrane somewhere where it's going to be warm. Don't want it outside in the winter because it will just crack when it freezes up with ice, and you've got to buy a new membrane. So that's why I've got all my system in the shed, to basically protect it through winter. But you don't have to get 1,000 litre IBC. You can get ones that are 600 litres as well. So if you don't need a massive big setup or anything like that. Adverts. This IBC, used, washed IBC, 125 quid. I don't think that's with VAT, and obviously you've got your delivery on top. Like saying, get 600 litre ones, mate. To shop around. This is obviously new rather than second hand. You could get a smaller IBC tank with your smaller RODI filter system if you wanted to, but I've just obviously got the as you probably know from my lives anyway, similar to this one, but it's not that one. Mine's a bit more because it's got some extra gubbins on it, so the big job, so it produces a lot. So 2,000 gallons per day, that's 9,000 litres in a day. But you just get what your budget is, doesn't it, and what you need. There you go, 600 litre pallets. 83 quid. With tax, 108 quid. Probably look around on Facebook, mate, or you know what I mean, people, you see people use these, don't you, in fields where they've got horses as big water butts and things like that. So they'll probably know where to get them from. Oh, direct water tanks. So they got one 600 litre. And you got different stuff on there. I can't remember what I've got. I think I've just got it so it's blank on the bottom anyway. Large lid size for IBC. So there you go, Paul, as well. If you get an IBC one, get one, like I say, with a large lid. So looking at it, it's 220 millimeters, and the next size down. So there's only two sizes, but you want the one with the big lid so you can put in a submersible pump from Screwfix. It'll fit in there, no problem. And if not, you just cut, like say, 2 slits in the lid anyway, peel it back and you just drop it in and then close it, and you can screw the lid on top. But I think I've just cut a big square in mine and just dropped it in because it's in a shed, and then I just put a cover on the top. It's fine, because that way if I need to, I can pull my submersible pump out when it goes to drop a new one in. No worries, Paul. Let's go screw fix. Submersible pump. So submersible pump here. I've got a Titan one, but they're older than these models. And mine's 250 litres in a minute comes out. So in theory, it should fill my tank up in 2 minutes. So you want one that's got a fast. Don't get one that's like 120 litres per minute. See if you can get one that's more. I mean, this is saying 14,000 litres in an hour. So you just do the maths to work that one out. But they normally say per minute. And obviously it will slow down the older it gets, and you need replacing maybe, but it's easy. Look, just put that in there and it just transfers the water out of your IBC tank into your main tank really quick, and then away you go. And they sell this delivery hose as well. Does it tell you much about that? X-Line have got that. They've got some yellow hose, and it's 1-inch hose. That's what they've told me to use, because the water will be able to flow fast enough for the submersible pump to pump it through. If it's obviously narrow, it's going to be harder. So I'd get some 1-inch yellow hose, mate, and it's called a delivery trigger. Get them different sizes, 3/4, but you can get an inch one like this, and you put your hose on there that's an inch hose, and get one of these that's for an inch as well, and connect it up to your submersible pump, and the water will come flying out really fast, and that will sort you out, mate. But obviously I've got mine off through X-Line because that's me, but you can find what you need with other suppliers, and just look around YouTube and see what other people do and all that kind of stuff. And don't be like me, like where you just go rushing into everything with 2 feet in. You want to sometimes just hold back in and wait till you suss it out so you can cost it all and see where maybe shopping around. But yeah, I think my IBC tank, because I was a few things when I was looking at what I need, found out I needed a bit more, so my budget was small, and I found one for 50 quid, mate. I'm still using it now, so that's been going 7.5 years. I've got another IBC tank in the garden, a black one, and that's where my wastewater gets pumped into, and then it feeds hose pipe coming out of that and just feeds the garden. my wastewater, so it's not going down the drain. Or for me, it's not going down into me. I don't know if it's called a septic tank or what we've got in our house. That tank anyway. So it's not going down there, because as you can imagine, I'm using like nearly 1,000 litres a day. So it's going to be nearly 1,000 litres of wastewater going in around my garden. Luckily, I've got loads of trees and plants that drink it all up. It's not been a problem. Yeah, has anyone else got any questions? Window cleaning, like Angus got trying to build up the rounds. I don't know as well, what does everyone else think? Do you miss like when you're first starting and trying to build up? Kind of enjoyed that period. And yes, it's nice when you've got that problem of you're really busy and can't take on any more customers, because life seems a bit more easier. But now you're getting another stress. It's not trying to get people. It's you having to say no. And you've just spent so long trying to say yes to everything. Now you've got to get used to saying no. Or trying to keep your customers topped up, because you do lose some because people move on and move away and that sort of thing. But you're kind of hungry when you're first starting, aren't you? And you're thinking all the time. And it's nice because you can take your time a bit, because you've only got a certain amount of jobs to do in the day. So you can take your time, be a bit slower, have nice chats, get a cup of tea. But then as you get busier and busier, you have to control that side of things, because you're trying to get your work done in the day and try and get as much as you can to keep the money flowing. But it's nice building up, because you can sort of like realise you can just build things up slowly is all I would say. Because it will save you time in the end of trying to get stuff right. And if you start clocking it into rounds straight away, getting compact, finding your workflow of how you like to work. And like I say, you find these add-on jobs are brilliant, but then when you start to get really busy, like I'm finding it's hard to do the add-on jobs. But you're doing the add-on jobs for your customers, so you kind of have to. I like doing them in a way anyway, it's something different. And the micro brush is awesome. Right then guys, I might as well start as you mean to go on. It's brilliant in the beginning, working it all out, figuring things out, kit and equipment, tinkering. It never stops really. And you never should. You're always tinkering, always thinking of efficiency. But it's brilliant building up. That's all I can say to someone like Angus is just keep going, honestly. It's a brilliant job. Job for life is the way it's been described to me, and I couldn't say any better really. You get well known in your community, become the go-to person in your village, that sort of thing. It's nice. And you get to know a lot of people, don't you, with your customers who are in different trades, so it's quite handy. I'll tell you what I find's funny is when customers ask, because you get to like you, trust you and that, and they're like, you don't happen to know a good painter, a good plumber, a good this. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. But luckily you start, don't you, when you get more customers, you'll be like, well, actually I've got a customer who's a painter and he doesn't live too far away. And you know what I mean? And so, yeah, you do start to be able to recommend people. And if you're in a jam, you know there's people you could call on for advice, or do you know of anyone you could recommend? And you know you'll get a good recommendation off them. It's good, isn't it? The networking, really. Hi, Ched. So I just seen you come in. Yeah, no worries, mate. Just ignored the big boy references. Yeah, have a good week, James, mate. You'll find your mojo. Look at the bank balance. That makes you crack on like. You'll be all right, mate. I can hear my dog outside and a towel's whacking on the floor. So I think she can hear me. Right guys, I'll be happy to call it a night. Sort of like running out of things to say really, but I can definitely suggest the micro brush from Gardiner's, brilliant on a conservatory roof, as well as the fascia soffits and gutters. It's a bit tricky on a swivel gooseneck, but that's how I roll. It's nice and light. It surprised me on a conservatory roof. All I can say is, like I said, it's probably the Marshall Pro Air version of his brush, a small brush for on a massive roof, but it works and does the job. Yeah, have a nice week, Ched. Everyone else have a good, safe week out there. Hope you get another week under your belt and we start to get to halfway through the month and everything's ticking along for everyone as it should do. Just depends on the weather, doesn't it? But the work is always going to be there. That's the thing to remember. That's a good thing about what we got. Yeah. Anyway, that's it from me, guys. Cheers, Nelly. See you all later. Have a good one. Have a safe one.